Hey Paul, love the videos. We're thinking about building a house in Michigan and not sure where to start. Can you give me some advice on what to do or not to do when we build? Sounds like an excellent idea for my next video. So in this video, I'm gonna break down the top 10 regrets that people have when they're building a home in Michigan. If you're new here, new to my channel, my name is Paul and I help people like you make better decisions when moving to, from, or around the state of Michigan. So if you're thinking about making a move in the next 3 days or 3 years, reach out, I can help. And if you wanna build a house, I can absolutely help you with that too. Not like actually build it, like I'm not going to build it. Like look at me, oh, spaghetti, built like spaghetti.
Great workout, Sarge.
All right, so these are the top 10 regrets that I hear from people when they're building a home or if they've built a home in the past and they wanna sell it now. These are the things that I hear like time and time again. So regret number 1, the location. Everybody always says location, 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 and there has to be a reason why everybody says it 3 times. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna break it into 3 different parts. There's the city, the neighborhood, and the lot. No matter how nice your house is, if it has a bad location, it like kills the value of it, or at least like wounds it. Like it's got like a limp and like a bad leg, like just sort of drag it along.
Congratulations, you live in a dump.
All right, so for the city, you're gonna wanna make sure that your house is built in a city with appreciating home values, so values that are on the rise. If you find a city where it looks like, oh, this is like a cheap place to build a house, there's a reason why it is a cheap place to build a house, because nobody wants it.
Now, you're gonna be way out in the boonies.
Now, for the neighborhood, you wanna make sure that if wherever you're at inside that city, you have a good spot or a good neighborhood that you're building in, close to things like the airport, downtown areas, Costco, Target. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that I'm passionate about talking about Costco and Target.
He can't stop talking about it.
Because like people care about stuff like that. So you wanna make sure that you're in an area that's sort of close to life. I always call it life, like things to do. And then for the lot, like you have to go and walk the lot. Look at the lot inside the sub. Is it in a cul-de-sac? Is it deep inside the lot? Is it right off the main road? Is it backing to another house? Is it backing to just a main road? You need to take all those things into consideration when you're building a place. Sometimes you'll find a lot and it'll look like it's just a great view out of the backyard. Like you look back there and it's just nothing but woods, and you find out they're gonna build like a Walmart behind you. And that's not good for anyone unless you just like love Walmart, that's your thing. Just have a real estate agent or somebody go with you to pick this stuff out. I mean, they will save you tons of time, tons of money, and it costs you nothing to have somebody come along with you and just slap your hand and say like, no, don't do that.
Don't ever do that.
Write my name down when you go into a sales office. Just say, I'm working with Paul. All my information is below in this video. Just say you're working with me and I'll help you. Regret number 2 is a bad floor plan. This one is so important. I almost started the entire video with it, but this one is actually more important for people who are building a custom home as opposed to like just a spec home. I see so many houses that are built big just to be big, just to have a lot of square footage with like very little thought put into the actual floor plan of the house. You need it to be functional. You have to have the flow working well.
Feng shui, yo. I can dig it.
For you, for your family, and then for future generations. You want somebody to like come in and bulldoze the whole house because you couldn't figure out how to build the thing in the first place. Regret number 3 is stupid upgrades. I overheard somebody saying that they spent $40,000 on water fixtures in a small house. Things like faucets, toilets, and apparently bidets for days.
I see what you did there.
If you can't afford to splurge, don't do it. A lot of people get so wrapped up into building their dream home, they forget that like it actually has to be financed by someone. This is not like a blank check situation. You just don't get like $1 million and you just spend it however you want, unless you're a millionaire. If you're a millionaire, you do whatever you want with it. When you build a house, the bank has to come through and say, yes, this is worth it, or no, it is not worth it. So make sure you choose wisely. So you're gonna wanna work with a good builder, a good loan officer, and a good agent. So they say like, yeah, this makes sense, or no, you're crazy. Don't do that. I always tell my buyers that the main thing to think about when sitting down with the builder is, can I add it after I build? Or how hard would it be to add this after I build? Something like a loft over the living room is not easy to add after the fact, but things like granite countertops in your bathroom, that's easy. Regret number 4, bad kitchen design or bad kitchen flow. bad kitchen layout, just bad kitchens in general. The kitchen's like the heart of the home, right? So if you're doing a custom build, especially on custom builds, make sure that the flow works well. You don't want the refrigerator 20 feet away from the stove. It just doesn't make any sense unless somebody else is cooking your food. You do not want to move into a home and then feel the need to redesign a space like a kitchen. That's a big, big chunk of it. Always think about things like the island, the pantry, the butler's pantry, even things like the outlets. So even having things like USB outlets or plugs for like your KitchenAid stand mixer, you want things like that, like sort of all around. So make sure you think about all those things when you're designing your space. Regret number 5 is the materials selection. Believe it or not, you can pick the wrong materials when you're building your house. Some materials in a house are better than others. Things like matte paint is harder to clean, light colored flooring, you can see stuff on it more, and even dark colored flooring and dark colored countertops show sort of everything. I actually saw a builder who made somebody sign a waiver for black countertops because they literally look dirty all the time. You clean them and then they look dirty again. It's like having a black car. If you have a black car, you know exactly what I mean. You take it through the car wash, it looks great for like 5 minutes. Drive it down the street, looks disgusting. So think about that when you're building a place. Aside from the look of things, a lot of the cheaper materials, if you want to go with the cheap stuff, it just doesn't last. So you might save a little bit of money in the short term, but you end up spending more in the long term because you have to replace it faster.
I go for quality over quantity.
Regret number 6 is going too bold. So a lot of things go out of style really fast. I mean, it happens with fashion, it happens with cars, and it definitely happens in houses. If I say glass block walls or wood paneling, the first thing that probably comes to mind are 90s construction and 60s construction.
Gross.
Wood panels are coming back a little bit, but still, it took a long time. Like if you held on to the wood panels from the 60s and like now they're cool again, I see that happening, but it took a while for those to come back into style. There's actually a new trend going around where people are lighting up the inside of your countertops. So there's like LED panels that they're putting behind white countertops to sort of make them glow from the inside out. And I just feel like it's gonna be a nightmare. One bulb could go out on those things and it ruins everything. Regret number 7 is about lighting or not having enough lights. You really can't have too many windows or too many lights. You just don't want your house to look like a dungeon. You want it to look like inviting and bright and airy. And when you have more windows, it makes the house look bigger. There's more light flood in the space. Look at me talking about light and bright, and I'm in here, this black office. Regret number 8 is not having enough storage space. I don't care who you are, no one is like a super minimalist, or maybe some people out there are.
Yeah, it's minimalist, you know?
But you've gotta have space to keep your stuff. I wrote an offer on a house a few months ago and the seller had put over $200,000 into this home theater in the basement, but it eliminated all of the storage space and my buyer was just gonna tear the whole thing out and just make it more functional for his family. So like things like that, to me, they're a waste of money unless like you're just fine with not having any storage space. Regret number 9 is not future planning. And what I mean by not future planning is not thinking through the future plans for your house. So things like egress windows for a bedroom in the basement, plumbing for an extra bathroom in the basement, stuff that is for the future that you just think, we don't need that now, but you may want it in the future. And somebody else, when they buy your house, will probably want it or appreciate it. So it's going to help the resale value on your home overall. Think about the future.
The future is now.
Regret number 10 is choosing the wrong home builder. This actually very easily could have been the number one thing, and it's probably the number one thing that I hear from people overall, all across the country, is when they pick the wrong home builder, it screws up everything. You really have to have your full team. You need to have a good agent representing you and helping you with all this stuff. You need a good home builder that knows what they're doing, and then you need a good lender who actually does the construction mortgage and knows how construction mortgages work. Picking the wrong home builder is just, it's a disaster. I mean, it's an absolute nightmare. I've heard it time and time and time again. Not from people that are working with me though. If you'd like to see my list of the worst home builders in Michigan, I actually made a video all about it. You can check it out here, and I'll see you there.